Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to yet another video for Hearts of Iron 3. So as the last video goes, you get a nice little black screen prior to it loading up here. Forewarning, if you do like to record this game, it's a pain in the ass. Take a little sip of my drink here while it loads up. It takes about 30 seconds or so, there we go, for it to do what it needs to do, because it likes to be a pain in my ass. So with that in mind, we're going to get into the next batch of stuff, which is the buttons here. So we're going to do diplomacy, production, and technology in this video. First one, diplomacy. So a couple different things you can do here. First off is your filter options here. You can pick countries that are in the Axis, the Allies, the Comintern, countries that are classified as major powers, your neighbors, countries that are unaligned to any faction, selected country, that means the country you have selected on the map at that time, and every country in the world. It's all alphabetized at the initial, but you can change it. Countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, Oceania, South America, North America. So, we're just going to go with the Allies just to make it easier, because we're going to pick England. Or the UK, sorry. So, first thing you'll notice in this screen is a bunch of different stuff. So right here is the three, we'll say, powers that be. The Axis, right now Germany is an Axis member. The Allies, and it shows you all here who the Allied members are. So the UK, France, Iraq, Oman, Yemen, Bhutan, and Nepal. And then the Comintern, the Soviet Union, Mongolia, and Tanutuva. So you can actually see, without even having to look at this map, for example, who is in the Allies Axis and the Comintern if you wanted to. If we go to all, it shows you every country's down here. What kind of faction they're leaning towards. So down here is the fascists. Then over here is the Comintern, and up here is the Allies. And you can actually click on each country separately if you wanted to, and take a look at it. Or you can also go to unaligned over here, and see all the different unaligned countries. Now, since we picked Bolivia, which is an unaligned country, we have a couple different options. We can declare war, declare a limited war, offer an alliance, a non-aggression pact, we can proclaim a guarantee, ask for transit rights, give our transit rights, invite it into the faction, embargo them, buy a production license, allow debt, influence their nation, offer their trade agreement, request land lease, or offer them a land lease. So, what are all these things? Well, declaring war is just that. You're declaring war with them. Actually, before we even get into this, we're actually going to look at this real quick. So this right here is kind of what I like to say, one of the more important things right here. So right now they're telling us we have zero relations with these guys. Our threat to them is zero. Their threat to us is zero. Basically, we don't threaten them, and they don't threaten us. Their neutrality is 80%. Our neutrality is 31 in comparison to 15. And right now, the threat is zero, because they're on the other side of the world, so who gives a shit, right? To declare war on someone, if we click here, you cannot declare war because our neutrality is higher than the present threat. Our neutrality is currently 31.50, and the active threat between us and Bolivia allows us to declare war when our neutrality is at 15. Meaning, we're at 31, we need to be at 15. Basically, the lower your neutrality towards a country, the more aggressive you are. So if we click on England, I think we're pretty much there already. We're close. We're 25%. So to change things like that, we'll get into that next, but what you can do is you can raise the threat level of a country, which decreases your neutrality. It's not hard to do. But then you can obviously declare war on a country. Declaring a limited war, well, we can ignore that. Basically, a limited war is you declaring war on a country, but not calling any of your allies. So, playing as the Axis, we decide to declare war on Poland. We are currently with So actually, we'll go with England. England decides to declare war on us. They can do one of two things. One, they can just declare war outright, and every country here will join in on the fight. Or they can declare a limited war, and it's just them and us, and that's it. Non-aggression pact. Basically, we promise not to declare war on them. Pretty simple, right? Proclaim guarantee. Proclaim guarantee will give us a chance to defend them against those who declare war on them. Naturally, the UK will proclaim a guarantee on Poland after a while, after we kind of get a little aggressive with the Sudetenland, Austria, and the Czech Republic. Then, obviously, transit rights. We're requested to access their territory. Basically, we're asking them if we can put our troops on their land to get to another location, or if we can just put our troops there. Give transit rights. That gives, for example, the UK the ability to put their troops on our land without having to invade, basically. An embargo. Basically, we're preventing them from trading with us. By production license, we're basically requesting to build a number of units developed by their country. A bunch of Churchill tanks, or Cromwell tanks, or Spitfires, or Hawker Hurricanes, or the Matilda. Allow debt. Request to be allowed to accumulate debt during wartime while trading with them. Basically, we'll be like, hey, we don't have money right now to pay you because we're fighting. Is it okay if we basically build up some credit with you? You can also offer, if it's an unaligned group, I believe you can do something, but here we go. So obviously with this one there's a couple different options, like for example offer alliance. We can offer them basically, it's not to join the Axis power. If you offer them alliance, they don't join your faction. The offering of the alliance basically means it's kind of like a defense pact almost. Non-aggression pact, promise not to declare war on them, same thing. Invite into faction. So here, the invite into faction basically is when they're not threatened by you, and they're over here. Where is this? You know what, we're gonna pick Austria. So see how Austria is very far towards us, far right. Basically, what will happen is if they get far enough over, they will join our faction. So if we read it, the difference between our neutrality and the highest threat against them is too high. This value is 100%. Well, it needs to be lower than 25. Basically, they need to trust us more, which is explained, right? Everyone kind of starts at a certain level. Influence nation. So this is where we can influence a country towards our faction. Basically telling Austria, hey, we're good, we're buddies. We can offer a trade agreement, which I'll get into momentarily. We can offer, where we can request lend lease. Basically means we must be, lend lease is where we, ask them basically, hey, can we build a bunch of stuff? And then offer lend lease is where it's like, hey, if you want to build like some of our fighters, here, you can build a bunch of BF-109s. Now, on the left-hand side here, obviously, we have the names of countries. Their threat. This is actually their threat to us. So the higher this number here, which is this number right here, well, let's go to Austria. The higher number this is here, the closer it will to we can get to fighting. Now we can change that by using spies and things like that. We can actually increase that threat. It's basically propaganda, both internally to their country and to ours. So it's like all of a sudden, commercials showing up saying, hey, those neighbors above us, I don't know about them. I heard they eat babies. Things like that. And then here are all the resources. So anything in red means a deficit. Anything normal colored, like this, means it's perfectly fine. So if we go, for example, to whoever is, basically whenever you hit this button, it automatically will select the country with the most amount of that. So right now if we hit it once, you see it's colored. Right now Japan has a surplus of 4 energy a day. They have a surplus of 4 metal a day. Jesus. Well, 4 Manchukuo has a surplus of 4 metal a day. Panama has the highest. Wait, who's the highest? Yeah, Panama has the highest rare metal surplus right now at 2. I believe this is going to all countries. Oh no, wait, no, sorry, we have the highest. It wasn't set to all. Sorry, so Japan has the highest at 4.6 energy a day surplus. So I'm just going to click it twice. We're the only ones with a surplus of metal right now. Oh no, wait, no, sorry. El Salvador has the, not including us, is sitting at 4.9. So basically, we'll say 4 surplus, 4 metal. Usually, what I do is I'll knock the number down. So if it's 4.92, I'll just say 4 for trade purposes. Give them a little bit of a leeway. Then we have 492, 491, 4, yeah, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay. Usually I only deal with the whatever's showing are the only ones I deal with. Then when we go to, there we go. Then we go to rare materials. El Salvador yet again sitting at 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Here we go. So oil. Afghanistan is sitting at. Jesus, we're the only ones in the hole here. Afghanistan is at the highest at 1. They probably will drop down from there. Oh no, they're all at 1. For supplies, which is going to be our major trading thing that we're going to look at, we want people that have lots of oil but are looking for supplies is what we're going to want. So Norway's got 3, so these are 3s, 2s, so it drops pretty steadily. For fuel, wow. Everyone's using up a lot of fuel, so we're not too worried about that at this point. So you want to look at, when you go to trade, basically, people that can give you stuff that you want, and obviously stuff that you can give them that they're going to want. Also, doing little trades and stuff like that will impact and influence the country towards you. To be 100% honest, though, because there's so much in this game to control and deal with and monitor and run around with, one thing I always do, automate trade. You can then have your convoys. You can still, one of the things with your convoys is you have to remember your convoys to have, you need obviously supply ships and its escorts, because if you go to war, they're going to need the escorts, right? So you just have to remember, now and then to look at one of the under the production tab, there'll be an option to go through and look at all your different your convoys, so you know if you should build more tankers or more escorts. And then down here is your basically it's your event tab. If like EU4 or CK2 or Victoria 2, you'll notice that the events pop up just on their own naturally. In this game, you can pick them when you get to the right preset. So with that in mind, Jesus Christ, we're already at 13 minutes here. For example, if we want to do the Anschluss of Austria, that's basically the annexing of Austria. We have to be at peace with Austria. Austria cannot be a member of any faction. Austria has to have one of the following be true. The NSDAP has an organization of at least 80 or popularity of 40, and have the modifier political crisis in Austria. Now also one of the following must be true. They must have the country flag, the reoccupation of the Rhineland, and it must be at least the 1st March 1938. 1st of March 1938, you can theoretically push that forward, and that's one of the first things we're going to try and do with that in Czechoslovakia. But what we want to do first, because I have a whole initial plan set up, is to invade Poland before we do anything. We're going to invade Poland, and then we're going to try and annex Austria and put tons of political pressure on the Czech Republic, or the Czechoslovakia, to basically give us the Czech Republic. So, if you click on the little check mark here, it'll be green when you have it, but right now it shows us. If we were to click, if it was green right now, these are all the things that would happen. We'd gain 5 dissent. We would lose 15 neutrality. our relation with France, the UK, Italy, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary would all be reduced massively. We would gain a threat of 10 on everybody. And then it just shows we gain a core. Basically, we control all these different territories. Austria would get the Anschluss of Austria event, basically saying, hey, we're now giving you. The UK would become basically 5 less neutral towards us. France and Italy would all become less neutral to us. Basically, we're becoming more of a threat, right? We basically just turned around and told the country, hey, you're mine now. And the country went, okay. So that is the diplomacy tab. Now there is one other option. Influences. This will be who we're currently influencing into our faction. So if I currently did, because we're going to do a couple things right now actually. We already made the trade. We're going to influence them right now. So it tells you right here, right? Do you wish to exert influence on Austria? This will move them 20 towards Axis each day for unlimited days. Accept. And now it shows you. Austria is being influenced by Germany. If you clicked the UK, for example, it's not an option there. But it'll also show you who they're influencing. So right now we're influencing Austria. They're not influencing anybody. You can have this thing like massively listed down later on as the game's on. One thing I always do is online USA influence right at the beginning. I like to influence them. They're up here, but sometimes you can move them to a bit here. So, well, we'll have to see. So with that in mind, I'm just looking to see how long this video is going. It's about 60 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a cut in here as well, and we're going to go into the production tab. I might just start to, fire through these real quick and easy, mainly because these things can go quite long. One other thing I mentioned is up here. I forgot to mention up here you can change it. So right now normal, it's us controlling it. AI controlled. Self-explanatory. The AI is going to control things, and that's about it. One thing I also wanted to mention, this bar here, green versus red, this is our victory conditions. So we can see who's closer to victory. Right now, because no one's more than 50%, it's all going to be a draw. So right now we're at 9.8%. They're at 22%, and the Comintern's at 14%. So they currently have 173 points out of 1172. The Allies are at 263 points out of 1172. And we're at 115 out of 1172. One way to get this increase without even having to fight is basically start puppeting countries. Using spies in that to influence countries to leave. One thing we will try to do, and I'll try to do as best I can, is to get France to leave the Allies. When that happens, it gets very, very hilarious. Because then all of a sudden this drops dramatically. And if you play your cards right, you can actually influence them to the Axis. Actually, I've never had them join the Axis, but they had to leave the faction first. So I've had that. I've gotten them to leave the Axis, or the Allies, influence them, did a whole bunch of stuff to them, and got them to join us. It's quite entertaining, actually. Some of the stuff you can do without even fighting. It's very, very fun. But the first thing you need to do is obviously just get them out. What you need to do basically, and I'll show you a little later, is basically you have to take over the country from the inside, like a coup d'etat. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys on the battlefield one of these days. Bye-bye.